The linebackers are the quarterback of the defense. And Texas Tech, they have arguably the best duo of linebackers in the Big 12 heading into 2025. In today's video, we'll break down the linebacker position for Texas Tech and why this was the most solidified group on this entire roster and why it might just be the best headed into 2025 as well. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And I've just got one question for y'all today, and I think a lot of y'all will agree, but if not, by all means, let me know down in the comments, right? I want you to like the video if you think Texas Tech has the best duo of linebackers in the Big 12. There's some out there that maybe deserve to be in the conversation, but if you ask me, I think Jacob Rodriguez and Ben Roberts create the most formidable duo of linebackers in terms of the traditional sense. Let's not include outside linebackers because in the Texas Tech defense, they're going to be more of the edge types, right? So strictly traditional linebackers, the will and then inside guys, right? I think Texas Tech has the best duo in the Big 12. And personally, I don't think it's that close. But if you agree with me, like the video. And if you don't, let me know in the comments why you don't. What duo would you put ahead of them in the Big 12? I think there's somewhere you should probably be in the conversation. But I think Jacob Rodriguez and Ben Roberts are the best. All right, we're talking about the linebackers here. And Jacob Rodriguez and Ben Roberts, they, again, create one of the best duos, not only in the Big 12, but in the country, in my opinion. Jacob Rodriguez was a guy that was an all Big 12 first-teamer last year. And in the preseason, I would suspect that's going to be the same thing. He is a guy that if he has a year similar to that, what he did in 2024, he's going to be a middle-round pick in the NFL draft. That's just going to happen, right? Ben Roberts, a guy that has continuously gotten better, and now the numbers dropped off a little bit from his sophomore campaign or his freshman campaign to his sophomore campaign from the redshirt aspect of things, but he was still really good, and you could see the development was there, and he has a ton of potential headed into his junior season. Jacob Rodriguez had just under 130 total tackles last year, 127 to be exact, and then Ben Roberts had just under 85, 84 to be exact. So we're talking about over 200 total tackles between the two guys that will lead the linebacker position for the Red Raiders in 2025. Let's go ahead and look at the depth chart that Joey McGuire released headed into June. We are now into July. You are listening this the weekend after the 4th of July. I hope y'all had a great 4th of July weekend. Ben Roberts, as I mentioned, going into his junior season, 6'3", 235, had 84 total tackles last year as a sophomore. And you've got Jacob Rodriguez, 6'1", 230, a guy that is using that extra COVID year, had a chance where he could go to the NFL last year, decided he had some unfinished business out in the 806, and we love to hear it if you are a part of Red Raider Nation, because in my opinion, he's the best linebacker in the Big 12. I just truly believe that in a lot of ways, whether that's from a coverage perspective, downhill helping in the run game. He is a Swiss Army knife and a guy that is elite at multiple really just high levels of traits you want to see and aspects of the game you want to see from your middle linebacker or your will or really just the leader of your defense. And Jacob Rodriguez is no doubt that. You've got number 3, Bryce Ramirez. Hopefully he can play a full season in his final year out in the 806. And then you've got John Curry, the guy that kind of emerged really on late last year where he didn't do anything crazy special, but you could see flashes there where he definitely deserved to be in the 2 deep when it came to the linebacker position. As I mentioned a little earlier, we're not going to talk about the edge rushers. That was in the previous video when it came to the defensive line. So if you want to hear about David Bailey, Romello Height, Charles Esters III, and others, go listen to the D-line preview. Plenty of good info there. But when it comes to the middle linebacker and the will aspect of things, these are the guys that I think are really going to make the Texas Tech defense take a level above than what we've seen. Because in my opinion, last year, this was really the only part of your defense that you trusted, in the sense of your defensive line and your edge rushers really didn't get much pressure whatsoever on the quarterback. It was a running joke on Texas Tech Twitter, whether you were talking about just the interior pressure or the edge pressure, there was really none of it, right? But the one consistent last year on the Texas Tech defense was the linebackers. Now you look at the Texas Tech defense and where it stands, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm hella excited about the Texas Tech defensive line. And then you return these two starters in Ben Roberts and Jacob Rodriguez. These are the two that will allow you to really go hyper speed in the sense of the defense that Shieldwood is going to want to play, because you have two guys or who, regardless, whoever's wearing the sticker, i.e. who's getting the play called into him. And I would assume that it's going to be Jacob Rodriguez. And I wouldn't be mad if it was Ben Roberts. Either way, you have two guys that you trust in the linebacking room, and really four, including John Curry and Bryce Ramirez, that you feel that they can audibly get the play out and make sure that they know where their teammates are supposed to be and be able to tell them where they're supposed to be in terms of coverages. So I feel really good about this unit, and I think it's going to elevate not only the defensive line, but the secondary, which we'll talk about later on this week here on the channel. Another reason to like the video and hit that subscribe button for 100% free content. But in my opinion is this. I'm open the show with it. Your linebackers are the quarterback of the defense. It's a cliche. It's, old and probably overused. And here I am using it, right? Hand up for accountability on that front. I think these guys are going to be able to do a lot more from the standpoint of the little things. They're going to get tackles. They're going to be impactful sideline to sideline because those are the traits that they possess. But I think they're going to be able to elevate their game a little bit more because you're going to have better players around them, right? In the sense of you're going to have Lee Hunter. You're going to have David Bailey. You're going to have Romello Height. You're going to have the Bryce Pollocks of the world out in the secondary. You're going to have the Mo Horns, another year of development for him. Cole Wisniewski, right? Like this, go on when it comes to this defense. This defense is going to be transformed. But the part that I'm probably most excited about from the defensive standpoint is this. You have Ben Roberts and Jacob Rodriguez in a Shieldwood defense. That is a killer combination. From the standpoint, again, we talked about the standpoint of getting the plays into the defense really quick and being able to trust guys like Jacob Rodriguez and Ben Roberts. But in a Shieldwood defense, these guys are going to get to just fly around and do different things that really confuse offensive coordinators and quarterbacks every week. They're going to make an impact not only in the passing game, but in the run game. They're going to be able to do so many things because you're going to be able to manipulate really an offense into thinking you're doing certain things. You can do it with either guy. So you can spy with Ben Roberts and drop Jacob Rodriguez back into coverage, vice versa. And it really allows you to open up things schematically when you are Shieldwood because you know that your linebackers are always going to make the right play. Period. They proved that time in and time out. And oh, by the way, they'll make the timely play too. Most notably, the play that comes to mind for me for Texas Tech is Jacob Rodriguez out in Arizona last year where he peanut Tillman the football out, and it created Texas Tech the opportunity to win that game where they pulled away late where it was 21-20, and then Taj Brooks had a long touchdown that made it a two-possession game. But that was really something that stood out to me on tape was watching Shieldwood's defense and how he uses linebackers. He's never had a duo of linebackers like Ben Roberts and Jacob Rodriguez, let alone a quartet of linebackers with Roberts, Rodriguez, Ramirez, and then Curry. Okay, this is a really good group. There's other guys involved as well from a younger standpoint that maybe will trickle in and get a snap here or there. But this is the Jacob Rodriguez and Ben Roberts show, and I am absolutely here for it in 2025 because I think arguably from a duo perspective, this is the best duo you have on this team, whether that's the edge rushers, the D linemen, whatever it may be. I think you could make the argument that Ben Roberts and Jacob Rodriguez create the best duo at their respective position on this entire roster, let alone the Big 12. Again, if you think that Ben Roberts and Jacob Rodriguez are the best duo of linebackers in the Big 12, simply like the video. That's all I'm going to ask you to do in today's video. I hope you feel like you learned something about the linebackers here. There's a lot to learn because it feels like there's a lot of new faces, but not in this one. You got 4 returners in terms of your 2 deep, all of them coming back from last year. You got that continuity, and you got some absolute damn ballers in there when it comes to Jacob Rodriguez and Ben Roberts. All right, I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, as always, if you want 100% free Texas Tech content surrounding your Red Raiders on the gridiron or on the hardwood, this is the place for you. The Back to 12 podcast, over 12,000 Red Raiders strong and growing each and every day. So if you want that, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button. And I'm RC Maxfield reminding you to stay safe and Wreck 'em Tech.